What is up, YouTube? My name is Gina Lee if you haven't seen me before, and if you have seen me before, welcome back. Today we're going to be going to Chipotle. Totally kidding. Not only is Chipotle super expensive for what it is, but it's also super high in calories. Today I'm going to show you how I meal prep these high protein, easy, and delicious Chipotle bowls that are less than half the calories and also less than half the cost. Let's get cooking. We'll be using this entire bag of grilled chicken by Tyson, minute brown rice, 1 can of corn, 2 cans of black beans, smoked paprika, onion powder, salt, chili powder, garlic powder, pepper, oregano, ground cumin, mozzarella cheese for the top, and this queso sauce for the top as well, along with, I use store-bought guacamole because I'm lazy, and Pico, olive oil, and then the butter is optional. Starting with the rice, I am boiling 1.25 cups of water and adding some salt to that, letting that come to a rolling boil. Adding 1.25 cups of rinsed brown rice to the pot. Stirring that around to make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom. And then we turned the heat down to medium. And this is personal preference, but I'm adding about a tablespoon of butter to my rice here. And we're letting that cook for about 12 minutes. Now we're going to go ahead and start cooking the chicken. I am adding about 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil to the pan. I'm just going to let that oil get hot for a minute. We're periodically checking on the rice and stirring it to make sure that it again does not stick to the bottom. I'm just moving the pan around to make sure it is all coated in that olive oil. And I'm adding my seasonings. I will throw the seasonings up on the screen and also in the description so you can see how much of everything that I am using here. I'm adding part of the seasonings to the oil before I throw the chicken on there. And we're going and cooking that entire bag of the grilled chicken. Just making sure everything is well combined. I'm adding the rest of the seasonings here to the top. I believe I actually ended up saving a tiny little bit for the rice as well. And combining that again like I did earlier, just making sure everything is well coated. I'm using the side of the spatula to cut this up a little bit more. I wanted the pieces of the chicken to be not quite so chunky. I wanted them to be a little bit more like shredded chicken. Like I said earlier, this is a very easy recipe. If I wanted to make this more difficult and a little more authentic, I definitely would have used uncooked chicken and then went and cooked that here, but I just can't be bothered. While we've got a little more time on the rice, I'm going and adding the rest of that little bit of seasoning that I saved earlier and mixing that in there. After about 10 minutes or 12 minutes or so, our rice is done. Here is what our cooked chicken is looking like so far. As you can see, I went in and kind of cut it up a little bit more. And you can tell it's getting done because it will start to brown a little bit even with the seasoning. And I'm opening up 2 cans of black beans here. Then I drain these black beans before adding them to the pot. Because there is 3 servings per can, we are going to be using 1 2/3 cans of black beans, so we come out with 5 days of meal prep. I'm just checking to make sure that that chicken is done, and it was, so I went ahead and took it off the heat. Now now I'm just opening up a can of corn and I'm putting that in a small or medium sized saucepan. Whatever you have is fine. I did also drain the corn before I put that in there. I'm adding some seasonings to the black beans. This is personal preference, however much you want to do. I use some onion powder, chili powder, a little bit of smoked paprika, garlic powder, cumin. I do like quite a bit of cumin. This may not be your preference, so you definitely don't have to use as much as I'm using here. And then I'm adding a little bit of oregano as well, some salt, black pepper, and then just stirring that up really well. And for the corn, I'm adding a decent little bit of smoked paprika, some onion, a little bit of garlic, and some salt as well, mixing that up. After a minute of mixing, I did decide to go and add just a little bit of black pepper as well. Stirring that again. Since I'm using store-bought guacamole, I do like to spruce it up a little bit. So I'm just throwing all of the contents of that into a bowl and adding about a half tablespoon, I believe, of lime juice. And then I'm throwing in a little bit of garlic, a little bit of onion, adding a little bit of salt as well, some black pepper, and stirring that up really well. Similar situation with the Pico. I am dumping that all out into a bowl here, adding some lime juice, which you saw me get everywhere, a little bit of salt, and mixing that together really well. It is time to plate it, so I am putting a cup of that brown rice in the bowl, a little over a third a cup of that cooked corn, about a half a cup of those cooked black beans, a little over 4 ounces of the chicken, which is just a fifth of the bag, a quarter cup of mozzarella, and then I'm adding 3 tablespoons of that pico on top, 2 tablespoons of the guacamole that we had set off to the side. Then I am topping the bowl with around a tablespoon of this queso sauce. Okay, y'all, this is the finished Chipotle burrito, and we're gonna give it a taste test. Bear with me, I'm gonna have to scoot over because I'm holding the mic while I'm doing this. I'm trying to get a little bit of everything. Get some of that cheese in there, a little bit of the pico. Girl. Okay. Not far. That goes crazy. That right there, that smacks. That is really freaking good. That's one of the best meal preps I think I've made. I'm sorry I'm talking while I'm chewing, but that right there, that's that bomb diggy. That's fantastic. In addition to also just being delicious, this meal saved me a ton of money. Since I did 5 days of meal prep here, I calculated the cost if I were to go to Chipotle and get nearly the same thing for 5 days. No drink, no extra sides. And that cost was $74 after tax. That is absolutely insane. And this, after tax, all the ingredients here were less than $30, and I didn't even have to use all of them. I also calculated the calories of my normal Chipotle bowl, and it came out to 1,215 calories. This bowl I made here today only has 507 and 44 grams of protein. If that's not your sign to start meal prepping, I don't know what is. All right, y'all, those are the Chipotle bowls that I have for you today. If you guys give this recipe a try, let me know what you think. If you guys have any other recommendations for fast food chains or food chains that are pretty expensive and not super great as the calories go that you would like to see me make into healthy meal prep recipes, let me know. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you. Bye.